गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां. So we were in verse number
46 page.
46.
41, 40 and 41 कवर किया.
कर लिया था, अभी 42 शुरू करना है. So the verse is 42nd verse. Jnanam drugdrushya yorbhanam Jnanam drugdrushya yorbhanam Vijnanam drishya shunyata Vijnanam drishya shunyata Ekamevadvayam Brahma Ekamevadvayam Brahma Neha nanasti kinchana Neha nanasti kinchana. The awareness of the seer and the seen is called jnanam. So, awareness of the seer and the seen. If, चलो आगे बढ़ के फिर बताता हूँ. Obliteration of the seen and the direct immediate experience of the non-dual self, the one without a second is Brahman, is the Vijnana, that is the technology, that is the Vijnana means what? Vishesha Jnana. So you can put it in two ways. Jnana, Vijnana. Jnana is knowledge, that is thought knowledge. Vijnana is transcendental knowledge. So here we are talking about that referenceless knowledge. Reference is of what? Always of the object. That object is some object in the world. That object is this body. That object is this breath. That object is this thought. This object is this desire or concepts or ideas or imagination. That object is also the I thought. Everything is an object because they come and go. The one who knows is the one without a second self, and that you are. Because you know, with every thought the I is coming and going. क्या लिखा नीचे? ज्ञान Jnanam is clear, distinct recognition of Prakriti and Purusha. Drug is Purusha and seer, the Prakriti, is Drishya, the seen. Now tell me, if you are in the waking, if you take the position other than the waker, dreamer and sleeper, don't you know the waking experience is a play between the waker and the waking world? You know it, isn't it? Don't you know when you wake up from the dream that the dream was a play between the dreamer and the dream world? Isn't it? एकदम clear है, कोई इसमें कोई, there is no doubt about it. You don't have to work it out. So who was that dreamer? He is the Drik, and Drishya was the dream world. Same way, in the waking experience, the waker is the Drik, and the waking world is the Drishya. And in this way, Drishya, the seen. Vijnana is jnana along with experience, wherein there is absolute absence of objectivity and duality. So what is Vijnana? Here we'll not take Vijnana as Vishesha Jnana. In many texts, Vijnana is taken as the science. Science which is Vishesha Jnana, knowledge about something specific. He is specific, camera is specific, this table is specific. So Vishesha Jnana is Vijnana, but here they are taking it as a different context. So here what are we taking Vijnana as? Where that objectless awareness, where you are seeing, the waker is seeing, but there is no world to see. The dreamer is seeing, but there is no dream world to see. So these are imaginations. So we can only talk about here at this very moment in the seat of meditation, or not on the seat of meditation. That you have reduced the thoughts to such an extent where you have dived into the gap, you are awake, and there are no objective thoughts appearing for you to latch onto, for the drik to latch onto the drishya. So if drishya is not there, will the drik remain? Remember, the subject is always coexisting with object. If object is not there, there can be no subject also. Then what is remaining? The eternal subject. That eternal subject is the reality. That is the pure consciousness that you are. Recognize this. As a result of Vijnana, the ultimate experience is Ekameva Dvitiya Brahma, the non-dual absolute reality. So what is left behind, or what is always, because of once the absence of all objectivity comes about, that is the one without a second reality. Just like when all the waves are gone, there is only water. When the waves were there, there were also water. But then why you didn't call it water? Stupidity. So where are we right now? We are in this waking world. I am the experiencer and this world is the experienced. As long as this game is going on, till then I am caught up in the world. Spirituality or adhyatma is that I come back to investigate what is the nature of this experiencer. Is he there? Or is he only a phenomena, the experiencer we are talking? Because that experiencer sometimes becomes the experiencer of what is to be seen. Sometimes he becomes the experience of what is to be heard. Sometimes the experience of what is to be tasted. So experience is also changing with every experience, with every stimuli. It is changing. When all the stimuli, meaning all the objectivity, comes to becomes zero, then what is left behind is the reality. This you recognize. Otherwise, many people on the seat of meditation, because of this lack of recognition that they are that infinite reality, they only go into nirvikalpa samadhi and then come out again to be the father, mother, daughter, sister, individual, and lose the plot. Therefore, they again and again want to go back into nirvikalpa samadhi. And many people are there. Once, if you have read Gundavlekar Maharaj's Jivni, in that he went to Naimisharanya, and he said to where he was staying, he told them, I'm going to the forest, I have to go, I've got a job to be done. And he went. And one of the disciples or the follower, he said, you promised me that wherever you will go, you will take me. Why you are leaving me behind? He says, okay, come. And he went, and in the Naimisharanya, there was a small hillock, and Gundavlekar Maharaj just walked into the mountain, into the hill. And this fellow, suddenly the lions are roaring and the snakes are hissing, and he started getting, Maharaj. Maharaj again came out and he said, you can't leave me behind. I am scared. I am okay with you, but alone I am scared. So he touched his third eye and he said, just follow me. Don't question, don't look here and there. He walked into the mountain. He also walked into the mountain. And the moment he went into the mountain, it was there was a huge cave. Now, how can this be possible? All these things are possible only in India, not outside India. And he went in, and there a huge 7-foot yogi was sitting with huge jatas and is sitting in the meditation. And Maharaji went, shook him, because that was the job he had gone for. He shook him. He wouldn't. He was totally deep into samadhi. Now, when all physical ways of waking him up didn't work, he sat down next to him and mentally, because Gondolekar Maharaj was who he is, he was able to introduce a thought in the mind of the yogi. And the yogi woke up. Because the thought came, he got disturbed and he woke up. And when he woke up, the first question he asks, has Ram taken birth? तो Gondolekar Maharaj तो राम भक्त थे. So he said, Ramchandra ji has come and gone. Now we are in Kalyug. He said, again I missed him. See the impact of that statement. That means in the previous cycle also he was meditating and he missed him, and now again he missed him. So, and then Gondolekar Maharaj, out of his compassion, said, don't worry, I'll give you Ram Darshan right here and now, and you'll be free. You don't have to hang on here in this mountain for another cycle of Chaturyuga. And he just touched his third eye, and there itself he had the darshan, and the body became ash. See? So, ऐसे ऐसे अपने महात्मा हैं. This is all possible when one person has come to realize that Jeev, Jagat, Ishwar and the Parabrahma Paramatma is one. And that one, I am. I am. नहीं तो घूमते रहो. Like this fellow, this yogi, you can go into Nirvikalpa Samadhi, come out of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Go into Nirvikalpa Samadhi, come out of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And then complain about the world. And then run away from the world, back into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. This is not what we are searching for. We want Sahaja Samadhi. We want to be in that Satchidananda blissful state, that one without a second Parabrahma Paramatma's disposition 24/7, 365 days a year. Unconcerned about what world is presenting to us, because our attention is not on the world, our attention is on our essential nature. So with this understanding, only Vedanta gives you. No other path can give you this knowledge. Therefore, multiplicity is only an appearance, but is not. In this world, there is nothing like duality. So, in the world of the water, there is nothing called multiplicity of waves. Everything is water only. There is nothing called multiplicity of oceans. There is water only. There is nothing called multiplicity of ornaments. There is gold only. There is nothing called multiplicity of pots. There is only mud only. There is nothing called multiplicity of this whole world, space, air, fire, water, earth, mixing together. All the different colors and forms and objects are being formed. No, the substratum, the foundation of it is nothing but that one reality, and that one reality, I am. It's a big responsibility. I created all this ugliness. I created all the wars. I created all the molestations. I created all the opportunities. I created, out of me the Devatas came out. Are you ready to handle that responsibility? If you are, then you are Ishvara. Remember, the one who is in charge of his mind is Shakti, is Ishvara. So raise yourself to that level. इसीलिए बोलते हैं भगवान रमण महर्षि, भगवान रामकृष्ण परमहंस, isn't it? Why that Padvi is given? They didn't call themselves. People gave them because they have experienced something with them. Bhagwan Satya Sai Baba. See? So, this potential is there in each one of us. And where are we lost? My chunnu munnu, my job, my investments, my impending death, my health, my tummy ache. In ridiculous things we are lost. But if that is expressing, again I am saying, if that is expressing, let it express. You don't lose the plot. Gondolekar Maharaj, I just gave you one story of his. But he was a realized master. He was married once and his mother made him get married a second time also. But that did not stop him from abiding in the self. Ramakrishna Paramahansa was with Sharda Mata. That did not stop him from being established in the self. Lahiri Mahashay, the guru of the disciple of Paramahansa Yoga, not disciple, disciple of Mahatar Babaji and the teacher of Yukteswar Giri Maharaj. Yukteswar Giri Maharaj was the teacher of Paramahansa Yogananda. He was married, he had children, he was working as a postman, but that did not stop him from abiding in the self. And there are many, many unrecorded Mahatmas in our Bharatvarsh who are in Grahastha and established in the truth.
Tukaram Maharaj was saying.
Tukaram Maharaj, Namdev Maharaj, Gora Kumbhar, how many I'll tell you? Jnaneshwar Maharaj, along with his brother and sisters. Eknath Maharaj. See? Maharashtra. So many saints come from there. We say that. But if you go to every state of India, there is a list of Mahatmas, realized masters. You go to Kerala, list of there. In Maharashtra, so many. Bengal, so many. Gujarat, so many. It's amazing. 43rd verse. Kshetra kshetrajna yor jnanam. Kshetra kshetrajna yor jnanam. Tadjnanam jnanam uchyate. Tadjnanam jnanam uchyate. Vijnanam chobhayoraikyam. Vijnanam chobhayoraikyam. Kshetrajna paramatmanoho. Kshetrajna paramatmanoho. The knowledge about the kshetra and kshetrajna is called jnanam. So now we are coming a little bit understand that there is a field and there is a knower of the field. What is the field? Ishvara is the knower of Maya. He knows it completely, all its intricacies, therefore he doesn't fall prey to his own potentiality, the Shakti. We fall prey to our own Shakti. Our Shakti is our Maya. All possibilities, all power, all will, all intentions, all are coming from our mind only. But we fall a prey to that. Ishvara doesn't fall prey to that. So kshetra, kshetrajna, the field and the knower of the field. So what do you know about yourself? We have done this experiment before, that I am knowing all the concepts and notions. I am knowing all the thoughts and emotions and desires. I am knowing the breath coming in and out. I am knowing the birth, growth, disease, decay, death of the body, or the brahmacharya, grahastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas, the various stages of life. I know it. So this whole thing that is coming and going is the field, and the one who knows this field of change is the kshetrajna, the knower of the field. So kshetra, the field, kshetrajna, the knower of the field. The knowledge which declares the identity between the kshetrajna and the Paramatma is called vijnanam. So that knowledge, that process, that I don't call it process, can't call it process. The knower, when the waker knows the field called the waking world, but when the waker comes to realize he is the infinite consciousness, story over. So that's what is told here. The knowledge which declares, this knowledge is declared only by the Upanishads, nobody else. Your Puranas, they will tell you, but only from God point of view. Here and there it is given, the Vedanta is given, but you have to have the eye to take it out of that text, especially in Srimad Bhagavatam. The knowledge which declares the identity between the kshetrajna, the knower of the field, and the Paramatma is called Vijnanam. That the Paramatma, the infinite reality, and the knower of the field is one and the same. That is called Vijnanam. One has to recognize oneself as someone other than the body, only then the enquiry who am I is possible. So sitting in the body, sitting in meditation with a checking every now and then if the fan is going in the right speed or not, having a cup of, not cup nowadays, bottle of water like that, continuously slipping in between, and adjusting the cushion under the bum, and then sitting. Now what are you doing? I am doing who am I inquiry. Pathetic. Who am I inquiry is not done by reading the books. Who am I inquiry begins or gets initiated inside of you when you become body disidentified on the seat of meditation. And that seat of meditation can be here. You are sitting here, you are listening to the satsang, and you are totally oblivious to the position in which your body is sitting, and nothing is disturbing you as regards the body, as regards the breath, as regards the thoughts. Nothing is disturbing because you are totally single-pointedly, you are listening to the words of the teacher, you are understanding the purport of the words of the teacher, but your attention is not on the teacher or the words. Your attention is on what the words are indicating. What are the words indicating? The Parabrahma, Paramatma, the Ekameva Dvitiya, the continuous, constant principle that is the conscious self. So once our attention comes there, all this drama can go on, but you are not available to the drama. एग्जाम्स के समय देखो, बच्चे पढ़ाई करते हैं, whole year they were playing, but once exams comes, why? If I don't pass, I don't want to do the year all over again. What will the society say? What will the near and dear friends, all the colleagues, all the families that we know, what will they say? He failed. That load of failure, when you start realizing that this opportunity that we have been given as a human life, as a human being, if we don't use it, this is the only gateway to reality. This is the only gateway to liberation. And if we fail in that, the whole world will be laughing. Whole world. Because you will be recycled again. Again, next birth is there. See? So, जब तक ये मुमुक्षुत्वम means an intense desire to liberate. And that intense desire to liberate here and now, not tomorrow, here and now. Not, oh, that was interesting text, many important points clicked to me. When I go back, I'll read it again. Lost the plot. It's okay, you can do it, but be available here right now. The concept of soul is only to help us towards the understanding that I am someone other than the body. People are worried about death. We are doing Kathopanishad. We concluded. So there also it's a dialogue between the Nachiketa and the Lord of Death. There the topic of soul also comes. What is soul? I'm asking you.
With memories and...
चुप बाकी बोले ज़्यादा सुन लिया है. What is soul? So when we see in the movies, or we have heard and we have data also that someone has died and that soul has left this body and taken birth in another body and remembers everything of the previous life.
Energy?
No. So what is that soul? Soul is consciousness plus memories. Why the memories came? When we say, if you are not realized, what is going to happen to this person? He is going to take a rebirth, or he or she is going to take a rebirth, isn't it? What will be the rebirth dependent upon? How do you know which vasana is going to, or which memory is going to fructify in the future life? As the future life? Last thought. Last thought. Last thought. So every night you go to sleep, think what is your last thought, because you may not wake up. It happens. Just now I got a call from someone. Swamiji, my mom passed away in sleep. अच्छी बात, अब मैं तो यही बोलूँगा ना कि अच्छी बात है. But that's not the way to go. It's peaceful because she was not suffering. But true way, the correct way of going is consciously. Let the body not support. Who cares? I'm not focused on the body, but I'm focused on the consciousness. There was one person in Melbourne, his name was Raghavan. His wife is still there in Glenville. So his wife was in India, and he called me, Swamiji, can you come over? I said, yeah. He said, my doctors have given me only 3 months to live. I got lung cancer. You know Raghavan and Jayashree? So that Raghavan. And then they conducted 3-4 satsangs and all Vedanta. And I was flying, the day I was flying out to India, that day I just went to the hospital to see him, because I know he's not going to survive. And there Jayashree tells me, Swamiji, Raghavan, he's asked the doctors to keep him aware. He doesn't want to take so many painkillers that he loses consciousness. He wants to go consciously. And what is he doing remaining conscious? He's bearing the pain, but what is he doing being conscious? Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. This is how he left the body. Now it doesn't happen because you wish. You have to practice. You have to do the hard yaka. Hard work goes behind it. Your inner convictions have to change. That I am none other than the divine. And the way to the divine is Sai Ram. So he is taking that name. Or it is Om. Or like Paramahansa Yogananda, he was sitting in the embassy of Indian embassy in Washington, and while giving lecture to all the dignitaries and scientists and everything, they had challenged. He says, I will not die. My body will not deteriorate. And there and then in the middle of the lecture, he says, my time has come. And he left the body. He left the body from the fontanelle. जैसे champagne pop होता है ना, the champagne popped and he left. For 21 days the body was sitting there absolutely fresh. And this was too much for the scientific community there. Then they buried him. It did not deteriorate. No decomposition of the body, no stink coming out of the body. Exactly the same way, in a similar manner, Jnaneshwar Maharaj is also sitting for last 770 years now, 80 years. 780 years. He's there 40 feet below. He was discovered 300 years after his samadhi by Eknath Maharaj. And we are lost. सब्जी मसाला कम है, हिंग नहीं डाला. These are things worthy of pursuit, Expand your potential, invoke that potential. Because you are that infinite. So what is soul? Who are we? We are individual. What is this individual? Individual is consciousness plus memories. That is what the individuality is, isn't it? So when this body stops supporting the expression of consciousness, because there is attachment to memories, this consciousness, then the moment this stops, this consciousness will go, and depending upon whatever is the last thought, it will search. It is already planned. ये सब ड्रामा है एक्चुअली, बट ऐसे कुछ होता नहीं है. बट इट इज गुड दैट these stories are told so that we become fully responsible for our success and failures in life. Don't blame anyone else. See? And if you want to take it another point of view, if soul leaves this body and takes another body, then who died?
Body.
The body cannot die. It is only made up of space, air, fire, water, earth. Only 5 elements. All the 5 elements here go back to the total 5 elements. So there is nothing called death. जरा सोचिए.
स्थूल आणि सूक्ष्म.
हाँ?
स्थूल आणि सूक्ष्म फॉर्म मध्ये आपण असतो बेसिकली. सो सूक्ष्म इज व्हेन यू कांट सी.
असतो नाही. It's an imagination. The sthul is also an imagination. Sukshma is also an imagination. That sukshma sharir is what goes from one body to the other. But you are not sukshma sharir, you are not sthula sharir. You are the Parabrahma Paramatma. But these concepts are given, these are concepts of birth, rebirth, soul. They are given so that the seeker becomes fully responsible and accountable for everything that is taking place in his or her life. Does not blame anyone else, does not blame the world. That everything that is, I should have got married, all of them are enjoying, and why God made me sannyasi? Think. And blame the world for it. Blame the circumstances of the world for it. No, take full responsibility that this is the journey I am on. And whatever journey is coming, that is the doorway for you. Whatever is taking place in your life is the doorway for you to go higher and further. Without getting attached, without getting lost in what is going on. Our attention should be on the conscious principle. Jnanam is that when kshetra, body, and kshetrajna, the embodied, are distinctly and clearly separated. Knowledge. What is knowledge? Where I am, this will not happen while you are moving in the world. I am enjoying the chips. Just now आते समय French fries का smell आ रहा था. मैं कहा आज ये बन रहा है. Then you cannot separate yourself. It is on the seat of meditation where you are able to separate yourself from the, I'll give you one example. As kids, we have all played firki ना, अपना एक जगह पे खड़े होके घूमते रहते हैं, and then suddenly stop. Then what happens? What is your experience? The whole world is moving, but you are still. Exactly like that. Exactly like that is the experience on the seat of meditation. The whole mind is going with thoughts, this, that. A japa also, same experience will come. That you are still, you are constant, you are unchanging, and all the thoughts are coming and going. The world of stimuli is coming and going. Now, why you need or sometimes when there is an accident, car accident, for one few moments, everything is going on, you're still. Every one of us have been in an accident, isn't it? So why do we need that accident? You can bring it about on the seat of meditation and observe that you are other than the field. Field is, call it Maya, call it mind, call it everything that is changing is the field. And you are other than that field. Vijnana, so jnana is where kshetra and kshetrajna are distinctly and clearly separated. So here we do the neti. I am not the world, I am not the body, I am not the breath, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect. I am other than all these which are changing. So I have come to the kshetrajna because I am the knower of the field. All these things were the field. Now vijnana. Vijnana is where kshetrajna, the individual self, and Paramatma, the total self, are essentially the same. So after having rejected everything that I am not, and I am the kshetrajna, and once I have rejected, now kshetrajna cannot be called kshetrajna because there is no field to associate with. So this kshetrajna is essentially the Paramatma. Realize this. Paroksham shastrajam jnanam. Paroksham shastrajam jnanam. Vijnanam chatma darshanam. Vijnanam chatma darshanam. Atmano brahmana samyak. Atmano Brahmana Samyak Upadhi Dvaya Varjitam Upadhi Dvaya Varjitam. The knowledge concerning the self born as a result of the study of scriptures and which is indirect and not experienced is called jnanam. Jnanam, na? Jnanam. So what is knowledge? This is only thought knowledge. We have studied, we have understood, we have become convinced in our intellect, and that will now, it has not been converted into a direct experience yet. So all you are hearing, it might be sounding very fantastic, but it is not our direct experience. We are inspired because we are convinced, but it is not our direct experience. Okay. I can give you a gulab jamun and tell you gulab jamun is, this color, it is sweet, it is soft, it is spongy, and when you put it on your tongue, oh man, I tell you, it's bliss. And the other person who's listening to this whole explanation, but he will never have, and he can now write PhD on gulab jamun, but he has not experienced it.
It's like Kailash. When Asmita was telling us about how Kailash looks, or you were telling us, we know how it is, but we didn't experience it until we saw it.
Exactly. But that was also paroksha jnanam. You saw Kailash through your eyes and through your mind. Vijnanam is discovering Kailash as the self. That is aparoksha jnanam. Paroksha means separate, away from you. Aparoksha is direct. So until and unless, and once that fellow has tasted the gulab jamun, then when two people who have eaten gulab jamun, they come and say, तूने खाया क्या gulab? हाँ, बोलने की जरूरत ही नहीं है कि नहीं? Exactly like that. So here it says the knowledge concerning the self here as a result of study of scriptures is not experienced, is called jnanam. The what is that? The immediate and direct experience of the self after renunciation of the two conditionings of the Atman, as Jiva and Brahman as Ishvara, is called Vijnanam. So now what is happening? We are bypassing the Ishvara Tattva. If the wave, this is the only example I can give. If the wave looks at itself, who am I? It cannot look outside. If it looks outside, it will see competition everywhere. Other waves are coming and pushing it away. Save, help, help. So before it dies, it says, I want to find out who am I, and it looks inside. Will it find ocean or will it find water? Correct. Same way. When we come to recognize that we are the immediate and direct experience of the self does not lead you to Ishvara. It leads you to Parabrahma Paramatma. Then when do we go to Ishvara? When we do not accept ourselves as the Parabrahma Paramatma. Then we want to go to Saket, we want to go to Vaikuntha, we want to go to Kailash, we want to go to Ganapati Lok or various lokas, Swarga Lok, all the 7 lokas are there. So if there is objectivity, if there is parokshata, and that parokshata can be of Bhagwan also, whom you consider as Ishvara, you will not come to the absolute reality. Even though you are always the absolute reality, but you will be recycled. Next cycle of creation of Chatur Yuga, again you will be coming. So here we are talking about mukti. We are not talking about relative mukti. Going to Ishvara, going to any loka is relative liberation. Coming to recognize directly that I am the Parabrahma Paramatma in essence, and this realization comes without a thought, then there is no rebirth for such a person. And this is Vijnanam. That this self, that consciousness that I am, Jiva Brahmatmaikya Bodha. This word, this sentence came before. It comes from the Upanishads. Jiva, Atma, Aikya. So Jiva and Atma are one, and Atma and Brahman is one. So I'll tell you, we are talking about recycling or the movement of the soul. So what is this? This is Jing Fang Fong Hotel. It is having certain space. It has a conditioning of these walls. If these walls were broken, what will happen to the safe? Or what will happen to the space? Will it go and look for some other conditioning of the building and enter and say, I am this building? Will it? Then where will it go?
Total space.
Think. Will it go to total space, or was it already total space? So there is no movement of the space inside the building to the total space outside. Exactly the same way. There is no movement of consciousness from this body to the total consciousness. So what we are talking about before as soul and everything, the movement of consciousness with memories, it is only because we have not accepted ourselves as the infinite one. The knowledge which has been, which is born as a result of scriptural study is jnanam. It is borrowed knowledge learned from outside source, not an experience. So we see in our Sanatan and our Bharatvarsh that there are many people, when you take Shankaracharya, you take Ramanujacharya, you take Madhvacharya, you take so many Panth, Nath Sampradaya, all these, there is parampara. Sadashiva samarambham Shankaracharya madhyamam asmadacharya paravantam. So there is parampara. This knowledge, this exposition that we are able to give, and it's coming from my teacher learned it from his teacher learned it from his teacher, and it is coming from Shankaracharya. And who is Shankaracharya? Lord Shiva himself. And who is Lord Shiva? The Ishvara himself. And who is Ishvara? Who knows that he is Parabrahma Paramatma. So it's coming from there. So we are delaying. By reading, we are delaying. But there are many Mahatmas in our culture, in our India, Bharat, that they have never studied any scriptures. They have never opened a book. And yet they are established in the self. See? Neem Karoli Baba, Shirdi Sai Baba, Satya Sai Baba never opened a book, only studied till late, but after that nothing. Our Gora Kumbhar, he never studied, he was uneducated, only knew how to do pottery. See? And I'm just telling you few of them. There are hundreds of them who have not studied scriptures, but they have come to realize. So both ways. Some people come to realize and then they study scriptures because scriptures give you the language to explain what is going on. Because that experience is beyond words. Nisargadatta Maharaj, I told you the story, you know. He never studied scriptures. Blah, 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 bolte rehte the. And in his room, if people come and say, Swamiji, my daughter is not getting married, Swamiji, my child is not getting admission, Swamiji, I am not, should I do, is it not my duty to take care of my parents, and I am getting split between my parents and my wife. He says, go to some other shop. In this shop, this is not, answers to this is not available. Get out. He will not allow them to come sit in the room. You don't occupy and waste the space. If you are interested in Atma, then being the Atma, come and stay. And after a few days, 4, 5, 6 days, he will ask you the question. If you can't answer the question, he'll throw you out of the room. He'll throw you out, literally. Get out. Not allowed inside. Do some introspection and then come again. Because they are still stuck in the world. And he is talking about the diamond that you are. like we are right now. And after this, Swamiji, what time we are going to go to the border tomorrow morning? अरे तुम्हारी ऐसी की तैसी जब जाना होगा सभी जाएंगे ना. विज्ञानम इज क्या लिखा है? विज्ञानम इज आत्मदर्शनम. योग सूत्र सेज क्या है? चित्त वृत्ति निरोधा इति योगः. योग, that means union, comes about as a result of chitta vritti nirodha, cessation of all thoughts in the mind. We have been talking about that. Cessation of all thoughts in the mind brings about the union, but that union is not complete till you read the next verse. Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. Once the mind has become zero of all thoughts, then shift your attention, because there is nothing to think, see there. Because mind has become zero. There are no thoughts. So if there is no thoughts, then is there something called emptiness? Is there something called nothingness? Is there something called absence? No. Immediately, instead of saying, no, there was void. No, ऐसे भी हैं, and they write books on void experience. No. If you remain till that void, then you are in the Buddhist thought. We go one beyond. And what is that? That tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. Shift your attention. Don't think that there is nothing out there. I am there. I am filling that space of nothingness because I am present. Someone is knowing. Be that. And that is vijnanam. Correct understanding is beyond cause and effect, beyond Jiva and Ishvara, beyond Jeev Jagat Ishvara, beyond relativity. This is Vijnanam. So, what is Vijnanam? Means realization we are talking about. Direct experience we are talking about. One cannot have thoughts of Jeev Jagat Ishwar, cannot have thoughts of birth, rebirth, cannot have thoughts of individuality and totality, cannot have thoughts of Jiva and Ishvara. Jiva and Ishvara are also two principles. Because there is Jiva, there is Ishvara. And for whom is the Ishvara? Only for the Ishvara. Why? He is afraid of the world. So he wants to pray to someone. Through that someone, he has given a name Ishvara. And that also, everyone is confused. For someone, Vishnu is the Ishvara. For someone, Shiva is the Ishvara. For someone, Shakti is the Ishwari. Someone, his wife's name is Ishwari. So each one to his own. But it is still paroksha jnanam. It is indirect knowledge. You will go to that lok, no doubt. But if you go to that lok with this understanding that Ishvara knows that he is Parabrahma Paramatma, then there is liberation. But if you go to Ishvara thinking that this form is the Ishvara, this idea is the Ishvara, then you are stuck. We are talking about very refined thinking right now. If it clicks, God's grace. By surrender, one recognizes the identity between Jivatma and Paramatma. Further, Vedantic inquiry leads to the dissolution of I. If these two things are practiced perfectly, then Vijnanam takes place. So continue to reduce the diet for the I. I becomes fat, means the ego becomes fat if data is present to it. What is the data for the I, for the ego? Past and future. Reduce. Keep yourself in the silence. Expose yourself to silence more and more. And also have this conviction that Jivatma, the individuality, individual consciousness, and the infinite consciousness, the Paramatma, is essentially one. The individual space called this hotel and the infinite space outside is one and the same. The individual water in a wave and the infinite water is essentially one. With this understanding, you do whatever you are doing in your life. Continuing, त्वमर्थो विषयज्ञानम् त्वमर्थो विषयज्ञानम् विज्ञानं तत्पदाश्रयम् विज्ञानं तत्पदाश्रयम् पदयोरैक्यबोधस्तु पदयोरैक्यबोधस्तु ज्ञानविज्ञानसंज्ञकम् ज्ञानविज्ञानसंज्ञकम्. To understand the implied meaning of the word tvam as I am the self is called jnanam. To understand the implied meaning of the word tat as I am the Brahman is called vijnanam. So, jnanam is only with reference to this body. I am the consciousness in this body. This is called jnanam. I am the infinite consciousness, Brahman. This is called vijnanam. And this is called Brahmatma Aikya Bodh. Brahma, Atma, Aikya Bodh. So there are two words, Brahma and Atma. So recognizing that this Atma that I am, this is the first stage. How did you come to this stage? I am not the world, I am not the body, I am not the breath, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am the consciousness. Now recognizing that this consciousness is the infinite consciousness. This is Brahmatma Aikya Bodh. And this does not happen by thinking. Initially you have to think, and with this conviction you get into the meditation. If you think that in meditation I'll come to know this, you will not come to know this. You have to first understand, you have to first convince yourself, and with that conviction that this Atma, because we have used all the logic, we have refuted all the other arguments, we have come to recognize, we can suss it out that we are that, and the space in here and the space outside is one. Yeah, it is same. The water in the wave and water in the total waters is the same. Yeah. So the consciousness here and the total consciousness, yeah, but I am not having that experience. But become convinced that it is so. And with that conviction, you go into meditation. And that meditation doesn't need to be only with eyes closed. It can be happen with the eyes open also. Right now you are all in meditation, whether you know it or not, because your mind is focused. To understand the identity between the implied meaning of both tvam and tat together is called jnana vijnana yoga. So this is the famous verse, tat tvamasi, you are that, thou art that, isn't it? So thou, you, who is this you? Now if you think, I am the body, I am that infinite reality, forget it. So when the word thou is used, you, then your attention should be on the consciousness. And when the word that is used, your attention should be on the infinite consciousness, not on the world. And what is the art? That is you are. What is R? R is the sandhi, is the beingness, is the existence. So the existence that you are and the existence that the infinite reality is one and the same. The existence of the space inside this room and the existence of the space outside this building is one and the same. It is not different. First we have to become convinced of this conclusion. In the Mahavakya Tattvamasi, there are three words, Tattvamasi, thou art Tattvam, thou, and Asi, the art, that is the meaning, thou art that thou art, that and thou are not two. You, the individual consciousness, and the infinite consciousness are not two. Vedanta declares that Jiva and Ishvara are the same. No. This is one big problem now. Those who take the Lord to be outside of them, separate to them, here Vedanta is having the eagle's viewpoint. It says one spectrum of the creation is the microcosm, other is the macro. Micro is the jiva, macro is the Ishvara. So the water, when I am touching the wave, am I touching the ocean also? Yeah. Am I touching the infinite water also? Yes. So when I am touching myself, am I touching the Lord also? Yes. अब ये आयुर्वेदिक काढ़ा पीना पड़ेगा. Not keep Bhagwan as separate to you. He is functioning through, in and through you, every moment of your existence. He is not other than you. To understand this, one must have correct understanding of who this Tvam is. Tvam is someone other than the Panchakosha. This is Jnana. Panchakosha, Annamaya Kosh, Pranamaya Kosh, Manomaya Kosh, Vijnanamaya Kosh and Anandamaya Kosh. Same thing can be put in other words: gross body, subtle body, causal body. So, what is that Tvam? Who are you? You are other than these five or other than these three. This, coming to recognize this, when you come to recognize this, what will happen? With all that we have said, if you recognize you are other than the Panchakoshas, what will happen?
Bliss.
Yes, but what is the condition?
Samadhi.
Good, you will get into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. But is that complete realization? No. So you have discarded what was changing, the Panchakoshas, you have come to the constant principle, and it is not that you have come, it pulls you in. Just like sleep pulls you in at night when you have enough of today, yaar, ab thak gaye, bahut ho gaya, enough of this world, and then the sleep starts pulling you. And before you know, you're absorbed into the sleep. Exactly the same way. You mature yourself in your sadhana in such a way, in studies, in japa, in whatever sadhana you are doing, that the consciousness pulls you in, pulls your mind and absorbs it, just like in sleep. Because you try to absorb or you try to surrender, it will not happen, because you are still seeing yourself as separate to the consciousness. So it must happen naturally. Vijnana is recognition of divine presence in and through creation, and that is only possible when our attention is on the divinity within ourselves. I am the father, mother, daughter, sister, but the world is divine. Nahi hoega. You have to recognize that the journey of expansion begins from within. It doesn't come from outside and then inside. It comes from within. Eklavya, when his teacher said, "No, I will not teach you because you are a Shudra, you are a tribal, I teach only princes." That young boy, he didn't take the words of the great master as a insult to his princelyhood. He went, built a statue of Dronacharya and dived within with deep conviction and became a better archer than Arjuna. Our Shankaracharya, he was studying under Govindapad ji. Gaudapad ji. Gaudapad and Govindapad both were there. But he didn't stay there. Once he has studied, then what he has to do? He moved away. No seed can germinate under the mother tree. It has to move away. Then only it can give fruits, shelter, shade, and accommodation to various animals. So the student must realize within himself who he actually is. Don't become addicted to the scriptures, don't get addicted to a master, don't get addicted to a god. Come to the essence and realize. Jnana is recognition of divine presence as oneself, and Vijnana was recognition of the divinity in the entire creation. Jiva, Tvam, Ishvara, Tat, and Bodha, experience of the Aikya. Aikya means oneness. between these two is jnana, vijnana, sanjnakam, culmination of knowledge into experience. Sanjnakam is the unity between the two. The wave and the ocean are one and the same because it's the same water. Recognition. Now then you go to the beach, now you will start thinking, is this ocean or this is what wave or this? नाना भूल जाओगे. क्या टाइम हो गया? One. Quickly this one and then we conclude. आत्मानात्म विवेकस्तु आत्मानात्म विवेकस्तु ज्ञानमाहुर्मनीषिणः ज्ञानमाहुर्मनीषिणः अज्ञानं चान्यथा लोके अज्ञानं चान्यथा लोके विज्ञानं तन्मयं जगत् विज्ञानं तन्मयं जगत्. The discrimination between the self and the not self is called jnanam. Atma, anatma, vivek. If you have to use your intellect, it should be used only for discrimination. And discrimination is not, should I eat pasta or should I eat noodles? Discrimination is to differentiate between that which is constant and that which is changing. That which is consciousness and that which is inert. Inert is always changing. Constant is never changing. So Atma is never changing. Anatma is always changing. So find out one example in previous verse, the Panchakoshas are continuously changing. So employ that is called, and coming to recognize this is called jnanam. Atmanatma vivek. The otherwise or erroneous knowledge is called ajnanam, ignorance. And what is the ignorance? So you are not involved in the knowledge of separating the constant and the changing, the consciousness and the inertness, but you are lost in the knowledge of the world. This is called ignorance. You are lost in the past, you are lost in the future, you are lost in the relations, you are lost in the bucket list. This is ignorance. Should we stop it? No, let life continue. But you don't lose the plot. Mahatmas also keep moving around. And then is called ajnanam, and the whole world is the self is called vijnanam by wise men. So what did I say before? Wise men, what is their disposition? The Jeev Jagat Ishvara is nothing but that Parabrahma Paramatma, and that Parabrahma Paramatma I am, because this Mahatma has realized the Brahmatma Aikya bodha, as we said before. The wise declare that clear discrimination between Atma and Anatma is jnana. This knowledge must reflect in one's day-to-day life. So what do you mean by it must reflect in day-to-day life? Swamiji, this camera is inert. This camera is matter. This camera is not conscious. You are conscious. Yes, I am conscious. So I am taking this camera because you are not attached. For some time, I might argue, I will convince, but when I see, हाँ क्या फर्क पड़ता है यार, कैमरा ही तो है, फोन ही तो है, number चले, if he takes away and resets it and all the numbers are gone, very good, life is going to start afresh. That attitude, rather than becoming miserable because of the loss of the data. Live in the present. नहीं है तो नहीं है तो है. Main rule है, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? The knowledge must reflect in one's day-to-day life. And not only this part, but also exposing your mind to the silence. This is your day-to-day. Reducing your thoughts from many to one. This is your day-to-day practice. Not get involved more and more and become a mess out here. Thinking more thoughts is not going to sort anything. Only reduction of thoughts is going to sort your mind. Opposite knowledge is ajnana. Opposite knowledge to what? Opposite knowledge to what the scriptures are saying is ajnana. Vijnana is the recognition that there is but one reality reflecting through multiplicity without becoming many. Example, many buckets of water are there and one sun is shining. How many reflections of the sun you will see? Many, isn't it? Has the sun become many? It's still one. So what is many? The buckets of water. So we are the bucket. But the one sun, the pure consciousness, is reflecting in every bucket. Mind is the water. It's just an example. That is exact. So one expressing through many, and that I am. Don't forget that. That I am. Bhagwan said in the 7th chapter also, Sutre Mani Ganaiva. I am the chain and I am the beads in that chain. Everything is He only. Recognize this about your essential nature and be happy. We'll see the last few verses in our next class whenever it is. Either tomorrow morning or I'll find out what time we have to leave. आधा घंटा चाहिए, फटाफट हो जाएगा, ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं है. Otherwise at Kathmandu. Then we'll conclude it. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Just sit quietly for a moment.